use screen recorder, leave it on photo. Hey. So we went to work at that place. The next day, grandson was there, which is cool. Now, I just took I just took psychology, so I got to look at my own brain. I seen somebody I hadn't seen in 26 years. Age progressed. And also went so far back into my mind to when I don't know, maybe I was just, I don't know what part of the relationship I was with my ex. But I brought her out here, because we lived in Houston, to see my dad. There's a whole period of that time that I don't remember anything. Why? I don't know why I would forget. I guess nothing really stood out. Not sure. But I tried to remember because I know that we might have gone to my dad's house. I think he lived in Smithville. And that's where I don't remember anything. Because Christina said she had went there. And she's probably right. Now, I know I cooked these long enough. Trying to crack my hard-boiled eggs. I'm beginning to wonder if I didn't take them out too early. No, I got them. So, Don used to work with Matt, and I don't know, in a band you can get together, and the band creates a different dynamic tension with relationships. I like to play music, but I'm not interested in starting a band. I'm not opposed to it, but if I was going to do that, I would have chosen to do that. I just have chosen to always be a guitar player or some sort of instrument player. I gotta have an instrument. I gotta have one to play. Now the only one I got is a bass. And that's okay, because actually I like it. I sent my dad's guitar with my wife, who I'll just consider my wife. There's no fucking point to that. But I've had to go through all the crazy. And I know some of it seems crazy and is. Some of it seems crazy and it's not. If you could see the inside of my world, inside of my mind. I have a lot of behaviors that would seem childlike to someone that doesn't know. Should seem that way to some, and shouldn't to others who would know me. Now, on one hand, I'm trusting more in a situation where I feel like God's got my back. The dynamic of that changes in the periods of time in my life that are fucking like this. And I know that. I'm trying to bring in the connection as I learn a little more. Now, the psychology especially is very helpful. This is where I can read what the fucking AI is saying on the screen before it makes the lesson, and I can see how intrusive it is into my own shit, and I am aware. On that footing, I would like to at least get some credit in being able to walk out on a plank. Because, for example, and this is a good one, the messages you didn't get from your friend. The Harris County Sheriff's Department bought out the plumbing company that's half a block from my house to have their little wannabe undercover surveillance center. So it's weird to know that they're doing it and it comes off sounding like paranoid delusion conspiracy shit. But what they don't take into account is that they're not the only motherfuckers with cameras pointed every direction, watching every second that the day offers with a person me. This is, yeah. So Ronnie knows this. I was thinking about making a fucking cartoon about this shit I've been through in my life and history. Trials and tribulations and all that fucking whack ass crap that Cloverleaf is about. If that ever happens, the title of it is going to be As the Leaf Turns. Ronnie is fucking smart. He's smart, computer smart. Always has been. And he was smarter on the level I don't have a clue. I can't fucking code or do none of that shit. I didn't like it. He was spamming people and getting checks in the mail when fucking we were in high school. This other person who I trust and have been the whole period of time disconnected from while in the period of marriage. I had one other person born the same time in a Libra. That's the tree limb hitting the roof. Just large enough to freak me out. Me, who does feel responsible for most of the outside stuff. I need to get gas, I'll have to mow. And I'm starting to apply to all the other jobs. Because now I'm like, I want to take an Uber and have a job wherever the fuck I can get one. If not Walmart. Maybe HEB next. There's probably a better selection. And it's not that I haven't figured it out. It's not that I'm a child or dumb. It's that I locked in on thinking I could get a remote job. Trusting my ex who got one during the COVID time. During the COVID time, I had a job taking care of my dad. They took half my money. I was okay with that. I wanted her to have half the money. I never wanted her disconnected from anything like that. I did want to communicate with her. I'm not throwing a fit about it, though. I'm trying to reconnect and stay connected. She's in the same fucked up spot now. She needs help because she had the fucking husband guy just quit his job. And like I had said, I reconnected with her on my friend's birthday, deliberately having insight that she was going to be fucked over by this person who was going to try to be what a video described to be making her pay karma back for our relationship. You know, because on one hand, it's like you could look at it wrong, but there's a lot of ways I'd rather be a man and man up for her and my son. But I still have to be able to exist and live and trust. Now, if I can trust God, who I do, to give me the clues and give me the clues too, to know what area to fucking blaze forward in, and not to in others, then I'll be okay. Do I know how to do that completely? No. No, I don't. And there is a path, and I'm on it. That's the path that I'm on. So I feel good about that. I text my friend to see if I could go ride with him when he goes to pick up Avery from school. It's regular, and I trust them. I didn't think I was so fucked up in trust, and that it could be, from the person who doesn't have the insight about me, they would probably think of it as like in the class I just read, like, oh, you're just a baby, because you're not secure. You're trusting in your roommate to be your base. Well, yeah. In one hand, yeah. But I'm able to extend the trust out into I'm going to fix the yard and do all that other shit that I had got to do. I got to get gas and then I can mow. But I haven't. This season is now where it begins. It didn't start needing to be mowed here as fast as it did other places because it was extremely dry, which is kind of new. I'm sort of in the phase with the land because I've been here and I trek out in it. That's a benefit that I can extend to my homie, who I do feel a lot of care for. I really don't know how to always show the respect or the appreciation for what it's to me, but along the way I find out how. I figure it out. A lot of the safety of the spiritual world, or what have you, as well as the danger, can be moved into the church of rock and roll. Something about music that is just more pure in a lot of ways. What happens to somebody when they experience music, that for me, I can leave all the crazy shit from church behind and look at it just as with the eyes of somebody who's like, I don't trust that. And I had an experience that makes me believe that's the way to go. Hire yourself a dude. And being able to slow roll it out, I did tell him what happened. And that I absolutely am not going to give that guy a message when I'm working in the attic at the other place. I was like, what the fuck? I think the higher self of bro and bro is the same higher self. And at that place, it could manifest down here like that. That's weird. I understand it. I understand it. Because in a lot of ways, I forget to mention my brother's my half brother. We have a different dad. But our family is still intact in as much as my dad was an important part of the greater family that stayed together, and it was Johnny that helped make that happen in a bigger way than I knew from learning it from my brother. So now I can get and appreciate that and check in on him because he just had fucking major heart surgery. But in the time of stress, I could see how that could be strained. Just experienced it because fucking major bypass surgery. Here's what's weird. I gotta call my aunt. On my dad's side, the last. Yeah, I'm a little scattered, in this because I'm in this moment making this video to sort of plot out. No, I don't just like making videos just to broadcast every goddamn thing in the world. I wouldn't have done it. I got moved into the direction, but I want to see if it can be done in some sort of teachable way. Because in a lot of ways I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm trying to work with and towards with my videos. Because there's a lot of things that science and the mainstream has had to pick back up from the periods of time when, it wasn't in the best interest because there's no money involved, like with the orgone healing stuff. Different things that you can do to make your life better that hasn't become corporatized, things like that. If once you employ some of those methods, the ones that fit for you, you can live. But those things don't work for everyone. And of course not. So connecting the sort of nodes on the map can be greater done later and slower on or something like that. I don't feel so comfortable when I leave outside of here. So of course I'm going to want to stay and work remote. And if you think it just has to do with a car, you wouldn't understand that. You wouldn't understand the feeling that you get from whatever's going on in the location. And I'm trying to fight for having that still. And I'm behind because we owe, which is my owe, the part that I would pay. And I was figuring I would get... I counted my eggs in my basket before I had my eggs in my basket. With the house. And my brother's extended his sympathy into the area of his ex-wife. He doesn't know how to extend it to me. His brain can't even process it. He doesn't even think at all that he shouldn't call me and want my half of the money for the taxes while he's occupying it. Like, it's completely foreign to him that if he's going to be there, he should be paying. He doesn't understand that at all. And feels fucked when the stuff hits the roof over there, which it happens over there too. Because he's never been able to... Well, I'm older brothering up a lot with him too. My grandmother put it on me to Jesus him. And that's not possible. You can't do that. That doesn't work. The experience you would get from going to church with your family, you can't just bypass that. I know what she meant, and I continue to learn. But my brother doesn't have a spiritual presence, life, of any type that I understand at all. Does he pray? I have no idea. If I was one of those people in a different time that thought he needed to get baptized and I needed to see signs, there's very clear fucking chance that guy could get burned as a witch too. But, fortunately we don't live in those times. It's not that crazy. But what his soul needs is best fucking found in him. He could answer that question. I don't think it's as crucial. But I'm still trying to be my brother's keeper. Because if his life experience is to come into this world, lose in a prison soul capturing thing, I would feel bad. If there's another option, that's where I'm at. It really is. And no, I don't feel like I'm in a prison planet. FYI. At all. And I still feel like the people that I care about, my souls around me, are within at least the grasp of my apprehension of what it means to have a soul, which in a lot of times is more important than fucking anything else in the chessboard world version of day-to-day life. But I'm trying to game it differently because I know that my ex is having the same amount of stress. The feedback I'm getting from my son through her and him disconnected to me is very helpful because I'm seeing him become a man. And I'm not getting able to communicate with him except by psychic means, which I do. And I feel is possible. I don't have access to it, and neither do I think does he. But I've dug down to where I did see it and have access to it, and I know that he does. And I trust her in her bringing me their experiences they've had in the interim. And that shit's great. Yeah, I feel bad for not being there and missing it out. But I don't have no time for that. I love hearing how psychic he is. I love the way that she explains it. And I'm still even having to wrestle with the feelings that you have as a father, wondering about, I've seen that play out in my dad. So I can't say that I don't believe it. I'm saying I'm using the dynamic tension to the optimal effect for real. And it's not fun to feel that. I'm sure it's not fun for him. I'm sure it's not fun for her. Look at his face, Because I don't think she had heard me say some of the things that I said before. But the guy who would be his dad would be Scott. There are situations that happened where I don't even remember people's names. I never even met this person. I've never met them. And to be where I'm crystal clear back in my memories, it's only listening to what I heard her and her friend talking about when she got pregnant, which I told her, but I seriously doubt she remembers. And it would shock her to know that I've not forgot it, and had focused in laser beam on it now. I don't think that guy's his dad. But I do think there is some sort of biological effect. Like if you have a woman and she's pregnant, okay, and she's staying with somebody who's not the guy that knocked her up, her biology and that male that she's with is going to imprint on that child in so many other ways that doesn't even matter about the DNA. When my friend was here and she was pregnant with Nalea, I wasn't the dad. Nalea and I are friends and she's grown up. I don't think I'm her dad, but I'm in the group of people that loves and cares about her. And I know all the other parts of the equation. It's fascinating. And she was about to be born in her mama's belly and was in the river, and I got to touch. I said, let me try to communicate with her. I did. I felt the fucking child push against the thing. It was weird. And then she went and had her at the hospital. No guy there, no husband, no fucking Bishnu. Bishnu didn't want to go. Bishnu. I'm a lot better person than I let myself believe. And there's a lot better people around me that I can see, and I don't really give a shit about the rest. Now, I know that I can see it. I can see it in my ex. I can see it in my son. I can see it in my friends. But it's still a very difficult fight to make it that I want to fight. I want that fight. So I'm attempting that. Yeah, it's weird. But this is just an update.